Episode 303, Burps, Methane and a Plan. This is the Change Underground. I'm your host, John Moore. Decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. I've listened to the horrified reactions of farmers around the world when it comes to methane produced by ruminants. The usual suspects deny it's a problem. The other usual suspects advocate for animal-free agriculture. Somewhere in the middle lies the solution. I've discussed some of these issues in episode 272, Methane. Briefly, are there more ruminants in the world now than there were before the start of the Industrial Revolution? Maybe, maybe not. If the numbers are roughly equivalent, then the methane exuded is part of the usual background makeup of the atmosphere. That idea, though, hasn't stopped methane from ruminants being a target in the emissions reduction. Now, this will involve change. There's a couple of ways to approach it: arbitrary, draconian and enforced from a central bureaucracy, and that rarely goes well, particularly when you toss in the independent nature of most farmers and you end up with a recipe for disaster. Enter New Zealand. Here in the land of Oz, New Zealand seems to embody all that was once good in our country, that they've held on to as we've drifted more towards the cruel and the cold as charity approach to governance. New Zealand keeps offering to and actually taking refugees that turn up on our shores that we then warehouse in PNG in disgusting conditions until the Kiwis offer to do the right thing. But I digress. From the Agriland site comes a piece by Aisling O'Brien entitled New Zealand Accelerates Efforts to Lower Agricultural Emissions. There's a link in the show notes. Quote, the New Zealand government has committed 710 million New Zealand, about 430 million euro, over the next 4 years to speed up efforts to lower agricultural emissions. And from further in the piece, in its budget for 2022, the country's government has allocated just over 6 million New Zealand to support the implementation of a pricing system for agricultural emissions. There will also be funding for forestry to develop alternatives to fossil fuels, boost carbon storage and increase sequestration. The government said it will provide over 36 million New Zealand to support producers and Maori entities to transition to a low emissions future. And from still further in the piece, this investment will not only sharpen our competitive edge in the future, it will also unlock opportunities for careers in agri-tech and generate export revenue through product development. The sooner tools are ready for farmers, the sooner we move to our goal of biogenic methane reduction of 10% by 2030 and 24 to 47% by 2050, New Zealand Minister O'Connor said, end quote. So not only are the Kiwis pushing for change, they understand the need to support their ag and forestry sectors. They've recognised the problem, provided the funding and pointing the private and public sectors towards finding solutions with goals in mind. From what I can tell, there's buy-in from the farming groups and individual farmers as well in New Zealand. And this is the key to the whole thing. For dairying and small-scale producers, seaweed supplements can be easily monitored, as can their methane emissions. On a 100 square kilometre property where cattle are seen once a year and mustered by helicopters, ensuring those beasts are consuming enough red seaweed to counteract the methane burps is a more problematic matter. The CSIRO, that's the Commonwealth Science and Industry Research Organisation here in Australia, and some of the ag departments in some of the unis, have been selecting for low methane beasts in their breeding programs on their own cattle stations. These, along with the financial supports the Kiwis are providing their farmers, seems a way forward. Certainly these actions will keep ruminants on the soil where they do much good, when managed in a rotational manner. I think we've been through that a few times. I see this approach as far better than biovat protein production. This latter method has no understanding of stock beyond food. Their environmental services are not considered by the Silicon Valley vegan types pushing for manufactured protein. And speaking of environmental services, some bad news out of Australia. We have until recently managed to avoid the dreaded Varroa mite in this wide brown land. This tiny little parasite has been destroying beehives across the rest of the globe since at least 1963. From the ABC site comes a report by Olivia Calver entitled Varroa mite detection at Port of Newcastle threatens Australia's bee industry. Quote, Varroa mite has been detected in biosecurity surveillance hives at the Port of Newcastle, threatening the bee industry. Australia has been the only continent to remain free of the parasite, with previous detections in Queensland and Victoria being eradicated. The Varroa destructor, commonly called Varroa mite, spread viruses that cripple bees' ability to fly, gather food, or emerge from the cell to be born. It also significantly reduces their ability to pollinate crops. End quote. It's a good thing that we do have the biosecurity surveillance hives, and a 50-click no movement zone for hives and equipment has been instituted as they cull out any that may have Varroa. It appears this incursion has been contained, as were the previous two, but it really does feel like it's only a matter of time before the pest settles into the Antipodes on a permanent basis. Now, Tassie might last longer with the extra moat we have in the form of Bass Strait, so who knows. On that matter, a fun fact to tell your friends, Tasmania is the only state in Australia to have the European bumblebee. Things are changing. Diseases and pests are roaming the world. Things are changing. Diseases and pests are roaming the world. Changes need to be made, but we must take everyone with us. The current world energy prices should be a driver for this change, yet I see many of my Facebook friends looking to blame people and return to some mythical golden age. Yeah, golden age has never really existed, as Mike Duncan pointed out in, some episode of his History of Rome. The golden age for the Romans was always a few generations back, and a few generations back people thought the same thing. We can make the world a better place for all life on this planet. The current price surge, driven by higher energy prices and the extra cash floating around as a result of the government spending during the first 2 years of the pandemic, demand inflation, if my memory serves me correct, and the supply chain bottlenecks are giving us a chance to reset to shorten our supply lines. My suggestion, not surprisingly, is to start growing your own food, or at least some of it. When we do that, we end up not spending cash on food other people have grown. Cash that for most people in the developed world we have already paid taxes on. We also avoid sales taxes too, where they're levied on food. Growing a food garden may well be the most revolutionary thing we can do right now that actually makes the world a better place. Certainly a world with better flavour, and as I said last episode, I think flavour and kindness could well be the drivers for our salvation as a species. So let's all be kind and grow some food. If you'd like some help, the discount is still on at the No Dig Garden course over at World Organic News. Normally $149, still selling at $17 until the world returns to perhaps a little more normality. So if you've been put off in the past, now's the time to jump in and learn. If you know anyone who would be interested, and the more people we can get growing the better, please let them know. I'll have a link in the show notes, or you can just go to the worldorganicnews.com and click the courses tab. Please spread the word. We need to get as much food happening as possible, as close as possible to the people that are eating it. The best time to move from consumption to production was probably 50 years ago. The second best time is now. So let's decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. Thank you all for listening, and I'll be back next week.